Months after the snap parliamentary elections, French President Emmanuel Macron still hasn't named the country's future prime minister.
Authorities in Rome begin repair work to secure the Constantine Arch after it was damaged by a lightning strike.
At least 7 people were killed in a Russian missile strike on Lviv on Wednesday. 3 children and a medical worker were among those killed, and 35 others were injured, according to the western Ukrainian city's mayor, Andriy Sadovyi. He said multiple houses, 2 medical institutions, and 2 schools were damaged. Russia has also attacked several other Ukrainian cities this week, including Kyiv, Kharkiv, Dnipro, and Zaporizhia. Wednesday's attack comes a day after Russia launched ballistic missiles at a military academy and nearby hospital in Poltava, killing over 50. The strike was the deadliest single attack this year. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has ordered an investigation and reiterated Kyiv's demands for help from its allies.
Ursula von der Leyen has voiced exasperation after EU governments undermine her efforts to strike a gender balance in her team of European commissioners. In a letter to EU governments, the Commission President had asked for 2 candidates, 1 male and 1 female, for each of the influential roles. Only 1 member state, Bulgaria, heeded that request. The other countries predominantly nominated men.
I have, throughout my whole political life, been fighting for women having access to decision-making position and leading position. And my experience is that if you don't ask for it, you don't get it. It does not come naturally. And this is why I sent my letter. Because if I would not have sent this letter, there would not have been a hook also to look at the diversity topic.
Estonia's Kaja Kallas was nominated to be the EU's High Representative for Foreign Affairs by EU leaders back in June. Of the remaining 25 places up for grabs in von der Leyen's team of commissioners, just 8 women are currently in the running. Von der Leyen says that without her efforts in pressuring member states to put forth women, the roster of candidates would have been even more dominated by men.
If I would not have sent this letter, what would have been the fact or the case? The initial proposals, if you look at the names you all know, besides the High Representative and me, the President, for the 25 member states that then nominate, would have been 4 women and 21 men. So without that letter and without that discussion, this would be the next college. And therefore, it is absolutely worth it.
Von der Leyen is currently interviewing candidates and is expected to hand out policy portfolios by mid-September. The candidates must then undergo questioning by members of the European Parliament and survive a confirmation vote before they can take up their positions. Unless the Commission chief can further rectify the gender imbalance, she could be leading one of the EU executive's most male-dominated team of commissioners in a decade.
2 months after the second round of the snap parliamentary elections, French President Emmanuel Macron still hasn't named the country's future prime minister. Currently, the parliament is divided into 3 blocks: the left-wing coalition, the NFP, Macron's centrist group, and the far-right National Rally. And they've made one thing clear: none of them want to form any sort of alliance with the other parties.
He's in a dilemma and can't find someone that can rally enough votes to carry the assembly, unifying basically the center. He can't find someone who can do that. So that, I think this is why he's gone through a number of different candidates.
The future prime minister will have to survive a no-confidence vote in parliament. Multiple names have been circulating, including Bernard Cazeneuve, the former socialist prime minister under President François Hollande, or the conservative right-wing politician Xavier Bertrand. Another option, Thierry Baudet, a little-known civil servant and president of the French Economic, Social and Environmental Council.
Emmanuel Macron s'est mis dans l'obligation puisqu'il a dit qu'il s'en occupait lui-même, de trouver un Premier ministre qui échapperait immédiatement à une motion de censure, parce que si celui ou celle qu'il désignait était renversé, eh bien évidemment, ce serait un échec qui lui serait directement imputable. Et jusqu'à présent, les noms qui ont été évoqués, les noms qui étaient proposés ne présentaient pas cette garantie, même pas de réunir une majorité pour, mais de ne pas réunir une majorité contre, et l'équation s'avère très compliquée.
Emmanuel Macron can't wait much longer. One crucial deadline is approaching. On October 1st, next year's budget plan must be presented to the National Assembly.
Ships of non-governmental organizations rescuing migrants in the Mediterranean Sea do not encourage departures. The director of the European Coast Guard and Border Guard, Frontex, tells Euronews.
We have a couple of questions.
Yes, you can. You've never heard me saying that it's a pull factor, so that's what my opinion is.
So your opinion is that they are not a pull factor?
I never said, and it's not my opinion, that it's a pull factor.
Leighton's position is in stark contrast to that of a confidential agency document on migration routes from Libya to Europe, never made public, but reported in the press in November 2022. It has been cited repeatedly by the Italian government in its attempts to criticize the activities of NGOs. Leighton's director of Frontex since 2023 updated the European Parliament on the agency's activities on Wednesday. Several MEPs who spoke at the hearing noted that he seems to devote more attention to respecting the fundamental rights of migrants than his predecessor.
First, you save lives at land and at sea. But it depends also on the resources, what you can do. But at least we promise always, again, all these officers took the oath somewhere in their career, and they promised to serve and protect. So we do. That's always number one.
In the first 7 months of 2024, irregular crossings of European borders decreased by 36%, mainly due to a decline in traffic on the Balkan and central Mediterranean routes. On the other hand, landings on the Canary Islands more than doubled, and entries from Belarus to the Baltic countries almost tripled.
Failures by the UK government and other factors led to the disastrous London Grenfell Tower fire that killed 72 people in 2017, a report has found. A years-long public inquiry into the blaze concluded a mix of dishonest companies, incompetent regulators and complacent governments meant the 25-storey building was a death trap. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer apologised on behalf of the British state, saying the tragedy, quote, should never have happened.
Authorities in Italy have started work to secure Rome's Constantine Arch after a lightning strike broke fragments from the ancient structure. The lightning storm felled trees and flooded streets in the Italian capital on Tuesday before damaging the honorary arch.
It's kind of surreal. I mean, it's really surreal that we found pieces from this exhibit.
Is it worrying that such a monument like this could be damaged by lightning?
Well, yes, it is. It's worrying. We don't want anything to be damaged, that it's historic.
Tourists visiting the site on Wednesday found some stray fragments that they turned over to park workers out of concern they might have fallen from the arch.
E questo è molto bello perché l'hanno trovato i miei clienti americani, quindi una grande sensibilità sull'antichità romana. Hanno visto questi pezzetti e hanno chiesto se potevano essere parte dell'arco, li abbiamo portati ai operai.
Standing about 25 meters in height, Rome's Constantine Arch was erected in 315 AD.
In the Danube Delta, just across the border from Ukraine, lies the small Romanian village of Ghilia. Its colourful buildings are striking, but there's more to it than meets the eye. Nearly 400 years ago, ethnic Russian Lipovans migrated to the region, following a split from the Russian Church. Their cultural influence remains to this day, including in the architecture. 21-year-old Mikhail Popescu is restoring an old Lipovan house. Euronews Romania correspondent Alida Macanu visited the site.
Felicitări în primul rând pentru că inițiativa ta e demnă de admirație, într-adevăr, suntem la capătul lumii.
Chiar dacă drumul nu este unul primitor, încercăm măcar locuințele din Chilia Veche să le facem cât mai primitoare. Din acest motiv am avut o ambiție de a nu mă adapta condițiilor materialelor din zilele noastre și n-am vrut să aduc beton, n-am vrut să aduc fier, nu am vrut să aduc toate aceste materiale moderne și am vrut să mai păstrăm și noi o eventuală tradiție, așa cum se poate. Am învățat să lucrăm cu materiale bio, cu pământ, cu stuf. Aceasta este la fel o ușă dublă pe care cineva din chilia, și foarte important ce vă spun acum, voia să o arunce la gunoi, vrând să o înlocuiască cu ușă de termopan.
Doamne.
Eu pe această ușă extraordinar de frumoasă am plătit un preț de nimic, pentru că această ușă urma să fie pusă pe foc și tăiată.
On the construction site, Nicolae, a craftsman and specialist in sustainable house structures, is working on something special.
Să vedeți? Aici e arta. Aici. Uitați așa. Din această balegă de cal, care noi o trecem pe sita asta, vedeți dumneavoastră? Uitați așa. Pac. E ceva, dar noi suntem obișnuiți, ca la țară, nu contează așa. Și se pune cu pământ galben și se lipește și filmați zidul ăsta de la cap-coadă, da? E făcut cu acest gen de material.
Locals aim to preserve Lipovan history through sustainable practices. One day they hope to also welcome tourists.